I got Chat GPT to predict the 2023 NHL Playoffs, and here's how it went. If you've used Chat GPT before, you know that it won't actually give you any predictions when you ask. It'll likely go somewhat along these lines. But this is how I worked around that issue. Well, as you can see up here, I basically asked it to act like an NHL predictor. And with that, I then explained to it how the NHL Playoffs worked, inserted what the current matchups would be as of today. These are the results it came up with. In the first round, it had the Bruins over the Islanders, the Leafs over the Lightning, the Hurricanes over the Penguins, and the Rangers over the Devils. Onto the Western Conference, it then had Vegas over Winnipeg, Seattle over the Kings, Dallas over Edmonton, and lastly, the Avalanche over the Wild. I then got it to go back and tell me how long each of these series would go. It then explained that it had the Bruins beating the Islanders in 6, the Leafs over the Lightning in 7 because, of course, Carolina over the Penguins in 6, and lastly the Rangers over the Devils in 5, but keep in mind this is information from 2021, so it does not have the current Devils roster. Which in fairness kind of balances out because it doesn't have Patty Kane or Vladimir Tarasenko on the Rangers, but it also doesn't have Timo Meier on the Devils. And in the West, as I threw up on my Twitter, it had the Golden Knights over the Jets in 5, the Kraken over the Kings in 6, the Stars over the Oilers in 7, and lastly the Avalanche over the Wild in 6. Onto the second round, it had the Bruins over the Leafs, the Canes over the Rangers, and in the West it had the Golden Knights over the Kraken as well as the Avalanche over the Stars. And in regards to who actually won and how many games, it basically just said Boston over the Leafs and froze. And honestly, the only explanation for who was going to win in the second round just being the words of Boston is pretty fair enough. Onto the third round, it then had the Bruins over the Carolina Hurricanes, and the Avalanche taking down the Golden Knights. That leads us to the Stanley Cup Finals being Bruins versus the Avalanche. And honestly, considering ChatGPT doesn't have access to any current information, this is actually a pretty damn good prediction. Like, there are a lot of people currently that are picking this to be the Stanley Cup Finals matchup. But in regards to who they have winning it all, ChatGPT is giving the 2023 Stanley Cup to the Boston Bruins, with the explanations for that being the fact that they're very well-rounded, true, as well as they have a great coaching staff, which is also true. And you know what, as much as the information isn't 100% up to date, this is actually a pretty damn accurate prediction. Let me know what you think of this prediction in the comments down below, but with that said, this is what happens when